2020 offered many challenges for people around the country, around the world, and right here in Chandler was no different.
I just felt kind of like confused. I didn't really know what was going on, and I didn't know the seriousness about it.
We had just opened up here in December, and the store opened up great. So we were feeling like we were pretty happy about stuff. And then the news of Corona started to come around, and then we came to the realization that we were looking at probably a shutdown.
We all had to improvise and change our situations just like every other restaurant. So things were very uncertain, very frightening at the beginning.
We could see the writing on the wall that there would be challenges for the business. So at that time, my husband and I saw this little dream of ours at risk of crumbling and disappearing.
There was a nurse who was working up at the Navajo Nation, and she needed some supplies of Lysol and disinfectant wipes and hand sanitizer. And that's where it evolved into really understanding the issues of the Navajo Nation being the hardest hit. They only have 13 grocery stores, and for some people it's 70 miles to 2 hours to get to the closest grocery store. So it's hard for them to find supplies.
Because of the number of families who were unemployed or lost employment due to their children not being able to be in daycare, not being able to be in school. So our population of homeless families especially increased.
COVID brought illness and isolation and financial distress, and that's exactly what our families go through when they battle childhood cancer. And so now these families are facing a double whammy.
We were on spring break, and so it was mid-March, and we realized that with the information that was flowing that we were going to have to move and pivot quickly, and knew that we'd have about a week before they were going to shut down.
We learned that families weren't going to come to a group-based program. It wasn't advisable from a health perspective to provide it anyway. So we really were looking at innovative solutions to bring the curriculum and the awesome products that we provide to our families. About 2 weeks in, we had developed a curriculum kit, essentially, with crafts, activities, pieces of the ICANN experience in a 2-gallon Ziploc bag with all the supplies you need to fulfill the activities, along with some snacks, some early reading material, and we sent hundreds of those home every week. And the neatest thing about that is they were entirely free for families. We partnered with Chandler Unified School District to deliver them at the school nutrition sites. As summer approached, we really wanted to do a whole lot more of that work as well and provide meals home to families who weren't engaged in the program in person. And so Waymo was a huge partner over the summer and continues to be actually every month. They're helping us deliver hundreds of kits to families.
We knew that we had to work with over 45,000 students, over 5,000 staff members, 2,500 teachers specifically, and really change how we delivered what we did every day face-to-face. We really had to change our modality. And the key was to be efficient and find solutions that work that we may not have implemented, that we may have never tried before, but also protect kids, do all the things that we need to do according to federal law and when we're working with kids, and balance those two. My hashtag during the fourth quarter of last year was 5 years and 5 days. We moved faster than we've ever been able to. In 1 week, I remember we trained over 2,000 staff members on a tool. And so those opportunities we took advantage of, and our teachers took advantage of, and were able to turn around and implement with our students. And that was unusual. We were going to find a way to do this in a different way for kids, and we weren't going to let the pandemic get in the way of serving kids and meeting their learning needs.
I started mailing Lysol disinfectant spray, disinfectant wipes, hand sanitizers to the nurse so to help her out and her staff. I would get up early in the morning, about 6 a.m., and go to Walmart or Target or Lowe's or Home Depot. And from there, I started having people from the Navajo Nation actually reach out to me on Facebook asking for supplies. So I started posting pictures of what I was doing, all the items I was collecting, and I started asking for help. So I started having people donate to me, from friends, family, to strangers. I blew up any Facebook group that I can to collect as many items as I could. Ended up raising some thousands of dollars. With the pandemic, I used it as an opportunity to give back and help those in need.
We know that the risk of COVID-19 goes up when people are on the streets and exposed to people that they normally would not be exposed to. One of the things we know with the CDC is recommended quarantining as much as possible, but how do you do that if you have no roof over your head? So Operation Open Door is a unique opportunity for the city to be able to house families for a short term in a motel in order to be able to keep them safe while we help them with securing permanent housing.
We have two sayings that we live by here at Rita's. One of them is take care of each other. And the second thing we say is everybody eats, because of all the stores running out of eggs and toilet paper and food items like that. We knew we had the capability of bringing in those items that we could get in bulk from our purveyors. When we thought about that, we went and bought a bunch of giant Ziploc bags, and then my wife sat in the back and literally put 3 scoops of beans in each bag, 3 scoops of rice in each bag, a flat of eggs, 2 rolls of toilet paper together, and we made kind of like little goodie bags. And then we let people know that we were offering those items free of charge for them to take. And when they did, we'd hand them their own little box of goodies to take home.
Jody and I were at the store, and we went to get stuff that everybody else gets, right? And the stores were empty. And then we thought, well, what would happen if we started to get some of these essentials to people? And thanks to our vendor, when they would get their hands on something, they would come to us and say, hey, we can give you guys a deal on this, and you guys can pass it along to the community at your cost of what we're doing. We sold almost 50 tons of flour during this pandemic. There was a time there where you couldn't get beef, and so we had these big giant 10 and 15 pound beef logs. Every time we would get a shipment, we'd have people coming in, and you started to recognize the same people, and we found out that they were buying stuff here and sending it to the East Coast for family that was there. And when Joe's buying 25 pounds of flour and divvying it up to 5 different people, and then coming back the next time we have flour to divvy it up to someone, then it starts to touch your heart about, wow, we're just not helping Chandler community, it's bigger than Chandler.
One of the things that I learned from my Brazilian culture is that you learn to dance according to the song that is playing. So if it's playing waltz, you dance waltz. If it's playing samba, you dance some samba. So we made this decision to take on our previous corporate jobs to supplement the business and help us financially. So over the last 7+ months, both Jeff, my husband, and I have been working on our consulting jobs during the day and still running the business on the background. That allowed us to keep everyone employed and the business to stay afloat.
We began our first drive-through essentials and distractions in March of 2020. Families applied who had a child in their family who had battled childhood cancer, and they were able to join us on a given day and receive gas cards, food cards, basic needs bins, age-appropriate distractions for the kiddos. It was wonderful to be able to serve the families in a way that was safe. And as soon as the word went out that we needed these items, there was a wonderful response of donations made such a difference to these families. Not only did they receive the financial need and the support that they needed, but they felt the TLC of the community around them, which really, really helped.
We wanted to do something in the community, and we decided on the chalk walk. I made posters, and I posted it on the mailboxes around the neighborhood. And then I set a specific date where everyone could walk around and look at all the chalk drawings. And I started to see everyone making chalk drawings, and I just thought that was really cool. We put a lot of games on our sidewalk, gave the people walking by something to do in these hard times.
The pandemic has been so challenging for so many families, and that really goes without saying. And we've seen that firsthand. But at the same time, we've seen so much gratitude, so much hope, so much joy. These are families that are, obviously having their own sets of struggles, but those bright spots in the day are huge. They make a huge difference. That family activity, sitting around the table together, enjoying something that's not the pandemic, it's family bonding and it's quality time together. That is so powerful.
And there was this feeling of community, real community, because we were connected. And that's the takeaway from this for me this year, is that I feel like that the world's a lot smaller than I really thought it was.
When we needed, our customers came to support us and kept us in business. So I'm grateful for having gone through this process that has really solidified our presence here in the Chandler community, but also our ability to withstand and to persevere through all the challenges that were put in our path.
Community's response was overwhelming. We appreciate so much the support of each individual volunteer, of our corporate sponsors. Arizona is a state where volunteers just join us and really help us succeed in meeting the mission for our families. So in spite of all the isolation, we were united in our cause, and that made a huge difference.
The biggest lesson we learned in 2020 was that no one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life. Things happen pretty quick, and the only thing we can do is adapt and persevere and move forward as best as possible. Humankind is still something big out there and something wonderful out there.
I think it brought a lot of people together, especially for me to say, hey, this is something bigger than me, it's bigger than you, it's bigger than all of us, and we need to start helping people get back.
And we're making sure that families can get a hand up, not a hand out, in order to battle COVID-19 and come out as winners on the other side.
We do what we do because we're passionate about kids and the opportunities that education provides. The pandemic taught our teachers and taught our kids and our staffs, doesn't matter what comes our way, we can solve the problem together, and it may take a couple iterations, but we're going to find a solution.
I know this is hard. It's hard for everyone, but we'll get through it.